Recent Gallup report shows that not enough students are what they describe as success ready coming out of high school. Almost half the students surveyed say they lack hope for the future. Associate Director of Learning Services Shari Nelson works with the students at the University of North Dakota to help them with success. Thanks for coming today, Shari.
You're welcome.
First question for you is, what would you personally define students as being success ready?
We think about that a lot, and I think when students are success ready, it's really a personal, individual goal for that student. So each student needs to determine what success is, because what's successful for you may be different for the other one. So it's really setting goals and reaching those goals. Do you want a degree from UND? Are you looking for a certain grade point average? Are you looking, what are you looking for? So success is, to me, each student being able to reach whatever goal it is that they set for themselves. So it's not always achieving good grades. It may be, I want to come to school and figure out what I want to do. So it's really individual.
Right, because everybody's different.
Well, yeah.
So the Gallup report says that 46% of students lack hope for their future. Why do you think this is?
I think that it's a different, your generation and the upcoming generation is very different from when I went to school. You're just bombarded with information. When I went to school, I read my local newspaper and watched the news in the evening, and now it's international information, United States information, the economy, the war going on. Our job's going to be available when I graduate from college. If I choose to go to college, do I want to go to college? I think there's such a bombardment of information, it's hard to sift through that. And I would find that frustrating, and my hope might be a little low too if I just had all this information coming at me on a constant basis. Technology is huge.
Exactly. So you briefly mentioned it, but what more defines a problem now as opposed to 5 to 10 years ago? Technology,
I think, is, when I went to school at 18, I had a typewriter that I typed on. I called my mom and dad once a week, collect. You're dealing with Facebook, cell phones, Twitter, all those kind of things. And as wonderful as technology is, it can also be really distracting when a student is trying to study, trying to sift through all that. All your courses, maybe this course requires this course requires this. Moodle, Blackboard here at UND, I think it's just a lot for students to have to deal with on top of the studying that they need to do.
Exactly, I agree. If a student is not success ready, how could it affect their school life or even their personal life?
Yeah, success ready can be so many different things. When we think about success ready, it's just ready for what the differences are between high school. Most of our students are coming straight out of high school into college, so it can really, if they're not prepared to how to study, they're not prepared how a college classroom is different than a high school classroom, they're not prepared for faculty expectations, it can really hit them hard when they get here, because they haven't been prepared for it. And you have to take your first test sometimes to realize, whoops, I didn't know how different things were going to be. Homesickness, all those different kinds of things. Roommate issues. Oh, yeah. So there's a lot that can enter into that.
So you work directly with students. How do you tell if they need help with success or not?
Well, a lot of the students that come in to see us are coming in voluntarily saying, I need help. So that's how we're going to determine most of them. We do have certain populations that we maybe know ahead of time are at risk, and so we'll reach out to them just knowing that they may struggle. Maybe it's their first generation, maybe it's ACT score from high school. So we can reach out to those students, but so much of what we do is those students coming in and identifying that they need help. So that's, in one instance, it's nice because they're recognizing that, but there's also a large group of students out there that you wish you could get to that maybe aren't coming in for the help that they need or that we could provide. And
earlier you mentioned that the definition for you is setting goals for yourself. Mm-hmm. How do you help students set those goals?
Well, I think, when they come in, if they don't know, we're going to talk about what are they here for? Do they know what their major is? If they don't know what their major is, we're going to certainly connect them with career services. And most people that we visit with are here to get a degree. So when we talk about setting goals, it might be, what is your major? If we don't know, you're going to send them to career services. If they are struggling, then we are going to sit down and say, what went wrong? How do you see yourself improving this semester? Maybe set a GPA. What's realistic? You want to push yourself, but you don't want to set something so high too. So it's really just sitting down and having a conversation with each student and getting to know them better. Rapport is huge. I can't just get to know you in 5 minutes. Rapport is huge, but asking questions, what's important to them? What are their goals, not the goals that I'm going to set for them?
So going back before the problem even starts, what do you think could be being done before they graduate high school to prevent this issue?
That's interesting for me because college readiness has been huge for me ever since I started working at UND in 2005. And I think it would be great. High schools are doing a great job preparing students academically, but I think it would be great if high schools could include in their curriculum just weaving into the courses that they're already offering, AP courses, dual credit courses, but just a regular course, because a lot of the skills that you're going to teach for college readiness are just life readiness skills. So I may not end up going to college, but some of those things could be weaved in. Time management, finances. So as you're teaching an academic course, kind of preparing students for what it's going to be like in college. I've always thought in an ideal world you'd have a course that would totally mimic college in the safety net of a high school. I take this course and it's 4 tests a year and a final. So
awesome. Well, thanks for coming in today and talking to us about this.
Well, thanks for asking me.